Welcome to writingalong.com. Today's episode is all about establishing theme in your writing. This could be for screenwriting, this could be for your novel, this could be for anything of the like. Really, any kind of art or craft that you're doing right now where you're putting your own words, you're putting your own thoughts into words, and you're putting them onto a page that's going to be consumed, read, etc., just by anybody else. What you want to do as far as theme is establish it early. Don't wait. You don't have all day for your reader to kind of get what's going on. You don't want to really wait until the middle or the end or hell, even like 10 pages in. Get that out of the way. Theme is very, very important because your reader is going to make a clear distinction. Your audience is going to very quickly assess what they are hearing, and they're going to see if it's relevant to them. They're going to analyze in their brains, is this speaking to me? Is this going to help me? Is this something that is even related to what I care about? Same with this content. If you're listening, you screened out. You've had a million things go through your brain that you cannot even imagine. You can't see it. You can't photograph it in real time, but it's happening. You're making these decisions, and that's what your audience is going to do with your writing. Now, to establish things, you don't have to. It's not a manifesto. You don't have the time for that. You really don't, especially with readers that don't have the highest attention span, which is everyone. I love books. I have trouble sometimes sitting down and reading one fully, not all the time. You know, like it's an act. It's a luxury act at this point, and it always has been. Reading always has been that kind of thing. But even then, you want to latch on what the thematics are in your head. Latch them onto the first chapter, the first page, paragraph, words that you choose. Let them be significantly intentional. And that doesn't mean that you have to spend 50 years thinking about it. Like, don't do that, but do respect it. Do pay some mind and attention and heed what's going on with it, because your theme doesn't necessarily have to be stated in the most profound, prophetic way. You might say it, you might spell it right out. You can actually say, there's a famous movie I'm thinking of. Some people know what I'm talking about, but this is a story of fill in the blank, all of that stuff. And it actually says the theme before the movie starts, and it's a good, relatively pretty good film for what it is. And a lot of books too, they say straight away, this is what I'm all about. This is what we're about. This is what the story's about. And the feeling that it evokes is essentially going to be what's going to carry on throughout the entirety of it. And it should be consistent. It will be consistent if you're treating it like it should be. And in general, themes can change their dynamic. I don't mean consistent in the sense that it never changes, right? The most meaningful, significant part of your book may pivot. What matters, what you're prioritizing as the most important part of your writing. This is why I'm writing it. It's going to change, especially if you're writing in a longer time span. I teach people how to write fast, not because I think that's the only way to write or the best way to write always, but I legitimately just think that you're dynamic, you are changing, you are evolving, so your writing is going to as well. Not just between books. I don't just mean between book one that you write and book two and book three that you write. I mean throughout the entirety of that one book. That chapter, that part, that page, you're changing. But the initial thing where you're starting from, it's like a net. It's like where you're catching readers in that point and place in time. They're going to come with you on this transformational path that you're leading them. You're literally holding their hands, literally in the literal sense. You're grabbing their hand and you're saying, all right, let me show you around. This, that, this and that, this is happening here, this is happening there, cool. And they're the ones having the reaction. You've been there. You're the one who knows your way around. If you don't, you're lying about knowing your way around as a writer. It's like in the story, you're like, yeah, I know where this is gonna go. And you do intuitively, you really do, and that's your skill. That's your skill as a writer. You want to create that experience for your reader. So with theme, I said, get it out of the way. Don't think that your theme is going to be revealed in the grand moment of whatever it is you've created. Most people aren't going to get to the grand moment, nor do they need to for it to really affect them. Sometimes the fact that you've made something and it represents something stands for it on its own. Do you have any books in your, wherever you live, or have you ever owned a book that you've never read, but you bought it or someone gave it to you, and you like having it, you like owning it, or you did like owning it, right? Because you liked what it represented. Maybe even just the cover itself. People judge books by their covers all the time. And maybe you like the way it looks in your house. It's not so bad. It's true because it signifies something. People put up paintings, people put up art, movie posters. I have this right here. I've been meaning to hang it. The glass broke, but check it out. I hope I don't get copyright taken down for this, but it's cool. Found that in a thrift store for like $10. Did I need it? No. Is it cool? Yeah, I really like it. I've been meaning to put it up, but I haven't kept it hidden away just because I really like the impact that film had on filmography as a whole, as the art and the really approach, all that stuff, right? I like it. Have I watched all of them? No, I have. I've seen parts of the first one. I'm serious. I haven't seen it all. And if you want to call me a not a true fan of it, go ahead, be my guest. But it represents something to me, and that's really the significant part of it, which is what I'm trying to say. And that's how you want to see your audience sometimes. If you wrote, I reference film a lot because it's the most accessible form of art entertainment. It's like modern day plays. It's what was going on in ancient Greece. When you go to the movie theater or you watch something, that's what's going on now. Just a little more easier, accessible. And what's going on there is you're not always paying attention. Your cognition is limited. And no matter what kind of attention span you have, sometimes you might just kind of doze off a bit. Someone might doze off for half the thing. No judging to you, but someone might, a couple minutes here and there, just think in their own mind. They might react to a certain scene, or it may represent something to them, and they're like, "Oh, what does that mean for me?" Or they might just be thinking about what they're gonna do next, or they're hungry. Like all these very human experiences that are gonna occur and happen. So again, you cannot anticipate that your reader, that your audience as a whole is going to be there with you the whole time mentally. They're going to check out now and then. So if your theme is so important to you, if what you're working on represents something, do it quick. Maybe your audience is going to wake up sometime during the middle of it, maybe during the end. The point is they're going to know where it started. They're going to know where we came from. And they might have missed out on an entire part of, you've read a book and technically you're reading it, technically you're paying attention to it, but you don't really you're just kind of flying through certain parts, like, okay, blah, 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 blah. But at some point else in it, your brain kind of wakes up to it. You're like, oh, we're here now. You knew where you started from, and you knew where you ended up when your eyes kind of open, your mind open to what's going on. That's the significant part, that developmental part, aspect to it. And it's not really scientific or anything like that. It's just very intuitive. It's very human. It's very easily digestible, easily understandable. And as a writer, it would definitely benefit you to know that and be aware of that. And you probably are aware of that already as far as theme. It's just sometimes it's easy to get caught up in all these little tiny techniques you think you need to know. You got to insert the theme here and apply it to this word in this sentence. This paragraph has to represent this theme. The way a lot of people are taught writing creatively, a lot of people learn creative writing very uncreatively, and that it's harmful if you ever do want to be a writer. And hearing this kind of stuff, hearing that, oh, it is as intuitive as I hoped it would be. It is as simple as I hoped it would be, as it should be. Theme is the message. It's a big part of it, but people aren't always going to be there for your message. You could be doing a rally, And you're going to lose some people here in the crowd. You can be talking to someone directly, having a conversation with them, and they're not going to be listening to you the entire time. Be conscious of that. Don't let that discourage you. Use that to your benefit. That's why you're writing. Whatever you create can mean something different to so many different people, because you started somewhere, and their brain, their cognition, became recognizant, all that stuff, at an arbitrary point in the narrative, in the story that you wrote, that you've created. And that stark contrast, that shocking difference when they arrive there, is what kind of creates. It's these two forces colliding with each other. It's creating this spark. And the spark that is really lit, the flame that's created, is the meaning that your audience really gets from it. And it can be so many different things. And that's one of the beautiful things about writing. And one of the even more beautiful things about it is that you're not just limited to watching it from the outside. You can create that too. You can create that experience for yourself simply by knowing this stuff, simply by being exposed to this kind of content and having this in mind when you're on the page. It's really incredibly amazing. If you're interested in writing a book, check out How to Write a Book in 30 Days. I have it on my website, actually, writingalong.com. Very aptly titled. So I'll see you on the next episode, and thanks for stopping by. We'll do a lot more videos on theme, but this is the first one I've really done, and I want to thank you for joining me on it as well. I will see you on the next episode, or you'll hear me. There's a podcast as well, which you may be listening to already. Subscribe to it. All right. I'll see you around.